Hey, what's going on? Welcome to your pre-warm for Ignite Baseball. This is the pitching warm-up. So the very first thing that we would like to do is grab a roller, hop on top of it, and we're going to start with our hamstring and our glute. So as you can see here, I'll be going up and down on my hamstring, just a couple passes on each hamstring, nice and slow, feel that compression. Then we're going to go ahead and switch to the outside of the leg. This could be kind of painful. You want to find that one spot on your leg where maybe a little bit of discomfort and really just massage it out. And then we're going to move to the quad, which is the front of the leg. Again, going to go ahead and do about 5 passes on this part of the body as well. Nice and slow, massage that thing out. Next, we'll be moving to the glute. About 5 passes on each glute. Then we're going to move on to the lower back. Get a little bit of the lat in there as well. Make sure we're doing both sides, both legs. Then we can move on to the back of the neck. This is one of my favorites. Just go ahead and move that chin back and forth. The very top of the neck should be on the roller. This is great if maybe you slept on the neck a little bit wrong, a little bit stiff. And we're going to move on to the forearm. Make sure we're going to roll out the back of the forearm, inside of the forearm, and the bottom of the forearm prior to throwing. The next exercise I would like to talk about is just using a lacrosse ball to roll out the back of the shoulder. Going to go ahead and do a little bit of a release on the back of the shoulder. Find that spot that's bothering you a little bit, press into it, hold and breathe for about 5 to 8 breaths. And then we're going to go ahead and do some small circles, maybe some X's on that spot. Then go ahead and put the lacrosse ball on the back of the tricep. Massage that part out as well. Then I would like you to move onto the forearm. Just go ahead and go up and down on the bottom, the outside, and the inside of that forearm so we're ready to throw. The first things we like to do here is a little bit of a release on the hips. You can take a lacrosse ball, tennis ball, softball, or a med ball, put it right on the outside of that hip, right where you feel a little bit of discomfort. We want to stay there for somewhere between 10 to 15 deep breaths. And the same spot, breathe it in. Then we're going to roll to the front of the hip. Same concept, find that spot that's a little bit uncomfortable. Welcome that. Deep breaths, breathe it in, let it release. What we'll be doing will be a peck release. Right inside that shoulder, upper pec. Find that spot with a little bit of discomfort. Breathe it in. Somewhere between 10 to 15 deep breaths. Let that muscle release. Banded decompression. Make sure we're pulling our belly button in, keeping our shoulders tall. we should feel a little bit of relief within the shoulders and the lower back. Make sure we're breathing, pulling that navel in, tall shoulders. Banded row with overhead reach. Go ahead and pull that band in, get that arm overhead. We want to breathe in through the stomach, raise those shoulders up. Creating that length. T-spine rainbows. Making sure we're breathing as we're moving that hand around our head. We're just going to stop nice and even, take a deep breath, try to get both shoulder blades on the ground, go right back to that hand. Notice my bottom leg is straight, my top leg is bent on top of the roller, knee is directly in front of the hip. Deep breath, back to the hand. Little reach forward, circle around the head, try to keep that hand on the ground. Open it up, deep breath. Back over, make sure, let's get both lying hip extensions. We're going to take a deep breath, press that lower back into the ground, get those hips to the sky. Hold, back down. Single leg hip extensions. Same thing, deep breath, press that lower back into the ground, press those hips to the sky, hold, and then back down, and go ahead and switch legs. You should be feeling this in your hamstrings, in the hips, and possibly a little bit in the back as well. Dead bugs. We're going to go ahead and extend opposite arm, opposite foot, while pressing lower back into the ground, taking deep breaths once we extend that foot and that hand. We're going to go ahead and take a deep breath in, curl that back up, and then on our breath out, we're going to push that spine down towards the ground. Again, this is going to take a little bit of pelvic control. Deep breath in, round the spine, and push that breath out and extend the spine. Clamshells. Going to go ahead and put the band around the top of the knees, stack the shoulders, stack the hips, open up those knees, keep the feet together. You should be feeling this on the outside of the hip. Hip 90-90s with T-spine extension. Should be feeling this on the outside of the hip, a little bit in the glute, as well as the spine. Big reach under the hand, extend to the sky, eyes follow the thumb, deep breath, back down through that gap. Hip rockers. Try to keep your pelvis and shoulders square while you rock into that hip. You should be feeling this a little bit in the groin, as well as the outside of the hip. Shoulders square, pelvis square, rock into the leg, back to even. We're going to go ahead and put hands directly in front of the stomach, palms all the way on the ground. Push those hips as far back as we can go. I want you to notice how flat my back is staying. I'm not turtle shelling up as I go back. To get a little bit more advanced here, we're going to sit back into the heels, and then we can raise a foot off the ground one at a time to really increase that stretch. Again, this is for more advanced guys. Rock back in. Reverse lunge with overhead reach. Big step back. Hands overhead. Try to get those shoulders as far back as we can while we're keeping that knee over top of our front heel. Knee pull with hip hinge. Going to pull that knee into our chest, hinge at our waist. Hands should just get to about shin height. Notice how straight my back leg is staying and how straight my back is staying. Pull that hip in, forward lean, stick that rear heel straight backwards. Inchworms. Go ahead and walk those hands as far away from your feet as you can. Notice how straight my feet stay, or my legs stay, as I walk towards my hands. Spider-Mans. We're going to put both hands on the instep of the foot, raise the hips up, back down, open up towards the leg, head follows the thumb. Open up, deep breath, back down. Notice my palms do not come off the ground until I internally rotate. Switch legs, up, down, open up fully, back to the ground. Band routine. Forward flies. If you're a right-handed thrower, left leg is in front. Hands do not go behind the shoulders. These are the reverse flies. Left leg in front. Pull those hands back. Should be feeling this in the shoulder blades, trying to pinch those shoulder blades directly together. Arms stay straight. Internal rotation. Elbow stays even with shoulder. Bring that hand straight down. External rotation. Again, elbow even with the shoulder. Bring that hand up, even to elbow. Reverse Y's. Hinge at the waist. Bring the hands above the head. Meanwhile, make sure you are leaning back into that rear leg.